Like always, take a few deep breaths, sit up straight, but relaxed. With each exhalation, feel the tension of the day fall away. Leave behind anything we've talked about, leave behind any thoughts about the day so far and the day to come. See if you can be completely present with what is showing up in the sense fields right now. To start with, just place your attention somewhere in the felt sense of the body. If it feels like there's a bounded body, then put the attention on the place that it feels the strongest, the most solid. And if it feels like you're in a boundaryless space with just sensation, then place the attention on the strongest cluster of tingling, effervescence, warmth, density, wherever it appears. Notice if that point of density or effervescence or warmth starts to change and dissipate as you keep your attention on it. And if it's no longer the strongest, move your attention to the next strongest place. Staying with the actual sensation, do you notice that it has changed again? And if so, how do you recognize that it has changed? Are you comparing it to a memory that seems to be floating still in that same felt space? Can you feel the sensation as it was moments before, and then also feel how it is right now? Scan the body now for any feelings of discomfort. If you have something that feels a little achy, painful, if nothing comes to light, then even just find a place of strong pressure, maybe a foot against the floor, back against the chair, etc. As you hold your attention on this spot, notice if it is changing in front of your gaze, in front of the feeling of this sensation. How are you recognizing the movement of this sensation? Does it feel like there is a continuous feeler of that sensation? Something which is riding the wave up and down as it changes? As the sensing of that sensation is happening, notice again, are there memories of what was just there that are appearing almost as if they are trailing off from the present sensation in reverse? Is it almost like the previous sensations are flowing behind you like the wake of a boat? How is it that you can tell the difference between the present sensation as it appears and the memory of the sensation that is trailing away from it? If you try to remember one of the past sensations as it was just moments before, can you feel it fresh and new again? If you can, do you recognize that that memory is now currently happening right now? That that sensation is your present moment? Again, how are you delineating between what's present and what's memory? Bring your attention back to the strongest sensation in the body and try to stay present with what is here exactly in the peak of the moment. It might feel like you're surfing the wave of this moment here. You felt the present sensation and you have felt the memory of this sensation. And you see that they're happening essentially in the same place. And sometimes they're even almost interchangeable. But now I want you to notice as you ride that crest of the time, are you also projecting and predicting what this next moment is going to feel like? Trying to remain squarely in the present, do you see or feel an anticipation of what is coming in this next moment? If you can sense some anticipation of the future moment, is that happening in the same space as the memories of the past and the current sensation? Does it almost feel like the present sensation in the present moment has echoes trailing away behind and a forward facing echo in front, anticipating what's coming? Now, I'd like to briefly try this with the auditory field. It might be even more apparent. If you find a sound in the room and try to stay present just as it arises, hearing only the sound that is currently being processed. Even if this is a continuous sound, notice if you are hearing brief memories of the sound that has just been heard. Even if it's the drone of a refrigerator, that drone is changing as you listen to it. It's varying in pitch and volume, all sorts of textural changes. But how are you aware of those changes if you aren't comparing them to the memory of how the sound just was? Notice also if there's an anticipation of what the sound is going to continue sounding like in the very near future. And how is that showing up? Now I would like for you to pay attention to my voice. Let this be the focus of your attention. As the words are coming in, try to stay perfectly present with whatever sound is hitting the eardrums at this moment. Listening to the sound of the words as they come in. Notice, first of all, if you actually recognize what the meaning of the words is. If you can just stay with the raw sensation of the sound, you can begin to notice how it is that the meaning of the word seems to be laid on separately to the actual experience of the raw sensory data of sound. The sound of my voice is really no different from the running of a refrigerator or a bird chirping or a car driving by. It's all simply sound, and yet something happens unique with a voice where the bird sound becomes intelligible. The car driving suddenly takes on meaning. It implores you to do something. It creates other images in your mind. It seems to reach out into your experience and manipulate things. So, can you feel where that meaning is coming from? And can you be with the raw sensation of the sound? You also notice as I speak that there is a sentence which is forming, even though there are pauses in between the sounds. Notice, no matter how long I put between the words, there is still intelligibility there. If you could truly only hear the sound that was arising in this moment, then how would you know what these sentences were telling you? Do you hear a very quick memory of the recent sound as it flashes back into consciousness? Are you comparing this current sound to the ones that came before? Is there an echolalia of the entire sentence coming together and being repeated? Perhaps every word even gets its own small echo. And notice as you hear the sound, if there is an anticipation for what is coming next. Can you tell where the sentence is probably going to lead? Do you hear the sentence completing itself before it's been uttered? Is there even an anticipation of what the next sentence will be altogether? Continue trying to stay with the raw sensory data of the sound as it appears. I feel everything that happens. Feel everything that happens as monkeys wander the streets playing kazoos. Are the feelings in the body that seem to register surprise, incongruity? Are there images that suddenly appear, corresponding to the sounds, as though they had meaning? Can you just stay with the sensation of sound, noticing how much of our experience of language and how much of our experience of the sound world itself is constantly being created by memories and anticipation of of the future, creating what feels like a continuity of experience. We're creating meaning afterwards, or we're grasping for meaning when we don't have all of the information yet. We're constantly predicting what might be coming next, and we're using the past to create that prediction, leaving it very difficult to be truly present with exactly what is showing up. Come back to the body. Notice the sensations that are here. Feel the feet on the floor, the bum on the chair, and trying to remain as present as you can with those sensations. Slowly open your eyes and let light in. And as you're doing so, recognize if you are seeing the current visual, blurry information changing. Is it just darkness, then lightness, then brightness, then full color, then images of the room around you? Or does it feel like a gradual progression of darkness and a gradient of lightness until colors come in and become blurry and then become clear, and then the world takes on a sense of meaning? Notice if all of that happens, and if so, are you using memory to determine that this brightness is not the only brightness that has ever been here, or that there might be some color or images in the future that will be greeting your eyes when they're fully open? Do this very, very slowly and be aware along the entire process until the eyes are completely open and the world is as you expected it to be.